foundation is elated to host the Indian cinema veteran and author, Ms. Deepti Naval, in conversation with Simran Pentel. Prabha Khaitan Foundation, a non-profit trust based out of Kolkata, was established in the 1980s by late Dr. Prabha Khaitan, an eminent litero-cultural enthusiast, social and women rights activist. Her guiding philosophy, work is life, or Karam Hi Jeevan Hai, is the guiding light of the foundation, which dedicatedly works towards encouragement of Indian art, culture and literature through various initiatives and projects. Taking the best step forward in promoting performing arts, culture, education, literature, gender equality and women empowerment with the collaboration of committed associates, Ehsaas Women of India and like-minded institutions have always been the top priority of Prabha Khaitan Foundation. To broaden the literary and cultural perspective in India and abroad, Prabha Khaitan Foundation curates the finest boutique events under the auspice of landmark initiatives and events. Besides boutique events, Prabha Khaitan Foundation has resorted to unparalleled activities. The cultural spectrum is broadened by promoting local culinary delights to pamper the taste buds of the guest and savory of local food and beverages. The foundation always favored the promotion of ethnic handloom heritage of India. The foundation exchanges cross-city mementos when it is time to show appreciation to esteemed patrons and guests. Ethos of the nation is captured in the anthem and tagline of Prabha Khaitan Foundation. The foundation's anthem portrays the true spirit of Indian philosophy, unity in diversity. The tagline Apni Bhasha, Apne Log captures the essence of the rich literary and cultural heritage of India. It celebrates the foundation's policy of promoting Indian language, literature and culture. It is in sync with the belief, ideal and philosophy of Prabha Khaitan Foundation. I am delighted to welcome Ms. Deepti Naval and Ms. Simran Pentel to the Right Circle in Jalandhar. The Right Circle is the choicest initiative of Prabha Khaitan Foundation, which encourages and widens the reach and relationship of English literature in India. Today's literary session is sure to delight us all as we connect with the celebrated cinema personality and skilled author, Deepti Naval. Deepti Naval is the first American Indian actor to join Hindi cinema, debuting with the path-breaking film Ek Baar Phir, for which she won her first Best Actor award. Deepti Naval performed in stellar movies like Chashme Baddoor, Saath Saath, Mirch Masala, Kamla, Leela, Firak, Memories in March, Listen Amaya and many more. Her directorial film included Do Paise Ki Dhoop and Char Aane Ki Barish. She also directed a TV serial called Thoda Sa Asman and a travel show called The Path Less Travelled. Deepti Naval is a multifaceted personality closely connected to the world of theatre. Her debut in the theatre was with the poetic stage show Ek Mulaqat, where she played the celebrated Punjabi writer Amrita Pritam. In conversation with the author is Ms. Simran Pentel, who is an Ehsaas woman of Jalandhar. It is now time to start the session. Over to you, Ms. Simran Pentel. Before we start today's conversation, please keep your mobile phone switched off or keep it in silent mode. Enjoy the evening.
Book that you penned recently, and for the first page, can we start today's session with you reading out the lovely poem that you penned there?
Thank you all for being here. My mother went to college in Jalandhar, school college. What is it? Is that Kanya?
Yes, college.
Yeah, she studied there, and so did my grandmother. So the city has some significance for me. The beginning of the book, I write. There's a little few lines that I write here. Memory rushes back at times, pulls me by my fingers, eggs me on, and says, "Come, let's go." Inside those dark chambers where you stood in the light, rejoicing a life yet to unfold.
Lovely. Right from this first page, the book kind of just pulls you in, and it's as if Deepti, the light, is illuminating different aspects, different pieces of a prism that have been part of our life, and celebrating different events and people in our life as you grew up.
Yes.
But for me, it was also as if it's a shared history. With not just me maybe, it's as if you could be talking about my childhood or my parents or anyone in Punjab for that matter.
I am so happy to hear that. Yeah.
And that's
I want this book to resonate with people.
It sure does. So it's that lovely, delightful, tasty, I would say, sprinkling of Punjabi phrases and words all through.
Yeah.
Can you tell us some of them? Just so you're...
Yeah, well, as I was writing, I decided, why should I always say courtyard? Because as we were growing up, we used to call it Veda. So it would be Veda, and my publisher, David R, he instantly caught on to that, and he said, yes, we will keep your Punjabi words the way they are, the way they come into your head. If you want to use them just like that, stay with them. And he said, I'm not going to italicize these words. Let them just be normal. When I ran down across the Veda, so it doesn't have to be italicized also. There are many words. There are many words. There's a chapter called Neri, I am Neri.
Good man the lighted.
Good man the lighted.
I've never heard that from anyone except my grandmother. And here it says in your book.
It's my father used to say that. It was an expression of great delight. Whenever he'd be tickled about something, he would, slap his hands together and say, "Good man the lighted." And of course, at that time, I didn't know what it meant. It just meant he's happy. And of course, later I'll tell you something. Later in Bombay, one day I'm going through Chowk Bazaar looking for little things, interesting ones, and I come across a ship lamp, not very large, this much, and I'm looking at it, and I see the engraving on it. It says Goodman. Goodman. So I said, is this the good man? And this I'm holding is a lighting. So I thought it's an English company. Goodman is a British company or something, which made lanterns. I don't know how this term got translated into a joyous moment. It was a bit of
Interesting, yes.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
Thanks for penning this book. There's so much we're discovering as we're reading along. Tell me something. The prologue that you wrote, it's such a enchanting name, Dance of the Songs.
Yeah.
Could you share something with us from the book, maybe?
I'll just describe it.
Yes, please.
Yeah, this is the first. I opened the book with the earliest of my memories, and there's a memory of a little boy holding a katori in his hand. That is the earliest. But the second memory is about me. I think I'm four, and I'm running down the street. I run out of the house. I run down the street because Mama has just left home. She's gone somewhere. She's got dressed and we've stepped out, my parents. And I'm just running. I remember running after, looking for her and saying, I want to go to Mama and my nanny, my Sardi. She comes running after me and she says, come on, get back inside, girl. It's getting dark. And of course, the street is, the shops are shutting down. So I'm running down and something stirs in the air, and then the Neri, the wind starts to swirl things around and little whirlwinds, And I go to Regent Talkies from Naval. Our house is somewhere on one of the right side lanes. And then the street continues up to Regent Talkies. It's in an area called Katra Sher Singh. So I'm standing before I know I've run all the way. I'm standing in front of Katra Singh and I forget about, I'm crying, of course, I forget about crying, I forget about Mama, because across the street I see this plot wala, this very skinny man, he sells these leaflets. We used to call them plots because उसके ऊपर फिल्मों के गाने लिखे होते थे और फिल्म का स्टोरी का प्लॉट एक पैसेज में प्लॉट होता था और उस पे later on I came to know that but we used to just know him as the plot wala. So this man उसके सारे plots जो हैं वो उड़ रहे हैं हवा में and then he's all over the place trying to grab them. वो बेचता है उसको, वो उसका livelihood है, तो he's trying to sort of retrieve them and I see him like a clumsy gesture or something. You know, I see his movement and I'm so enthralled. और आसपास सब सिनेमा के posters लगे हैं, Regent Talkies. I just so remember that dust storms, how his plots were flying above his head, and he was in trying to catch them. वो leaflets भी जो थे वो they are not bound together, they just slid one into the other, so they all open up and start flying. That memory of and then my Sally of course catches up with me and she plants me on her hip and she strides back home and brings me inside the gate and my dad.
Can I say that? My dad? Yes. So this prologue ends with an admonition from your BBG, your paternal grandmother, and she says, "No little girls from good families ever go out to cinemas on the street." But from that 4-year-old to the wonderful woman you've become, you're playing so many roles as an actor, a writer, a painter, trekker, as you mentioned, a poet. There's so much you've achieved in your life. For a young girl starting out, what would be your advice to a young girl of today?
Well, at that age I didn't know I was starting out. I was just chasing my mother's, But advice I would give to any girl would be that stay strong. If you feel strong in your head and you have conviction, hold on to that and do not at any cost give up your dream. It's very simple.
So relevant, so important.
Yeah.
In the book, there's this beautiful story about your paternal grandparents having opposing or conflicting political ideologies.
Oh, yes.
Yet they were such a good couple together, as you write in the book. So, and in today's world where we're running short of tolerance for each other's views, I feel it's really important that you share that with us today.
Yes, I used to call them, Bauji was my paternal grandfather and BBG, my dadi. She was my dada was a staunch Qatar Jansan. And my dadi was a pakka Congress. They would rally against each other for their different, वो गांधी ग्राउंड में कोई होता था उनका, तो वो कांग्रेस वाली स्टॉल में होती थी और दादाजी जो बाऊजी would be in the Johnson wala campaign, and they would come home and they would discuss each other's viewpoints. And they'd be perfectly well-matched couple otherwise except for their ideologies. It never clashed. They had a wonderful marriage and they were an example. She was a social worker also. Bauji was a leading criminal lawyer. But this aspect of their marriage with having conflicting views but having no clash, this always fascinated me. I thought that was so such an example that you can have different opposing views and still respect each other, be able to talk it out with each other and understand the other person. You don't have to give up what you believe in, but just an understanding for the other viewpoint.
So true. It's amazing. It's so interesting how there are different chapters in your book where you're talking about your grandfather, your grandmother. Then the story moves on to your paternal side of the family, and you've devoted chapters because there's just so much to say and so much for all of us to actually understand and take in. It's in the subtle messages you've left here and there. There's this lovely chapter about your Naniji, where yes. So and I believe that your family's love for art and music, it was deep rooted because everyone was involved in some way or the other. And your grandmother, when she came from Burma, walking through the jungles, she carried her gramophone bag on her head.
On her back.
On her back.
Yeah.
And in this chapter called Little Book, you kind of described it. And so many of us today don't even know or remember that exodus from Burma to India that the Indians had to undertake in World War II. So could you tell us something about what happened?
Yeah, the family, my mother was born and brought up in Mandalay, in Burma. And my Nana and Nani, they got married in India. My Nana was Bade Daddy, he was a Dogri, Pahadi, Kangra, or then later Jammu, and my Nani was Punjabi woman, small built. They migrated after they got married, and all the children were born in Burma. So during the Second World, when the Japanese invaded Burma, that's when the Indians had to flee. About 500,000 Indians fled Burma, and some of them were lucky enough to get away on the plane. There was, of course, the ships, the steamers flying across the Bay of Bengal. But once the Japanese started, they torpedoed the boats. That's when that exit route was also jeopardized, and whoever was remaining had to literally walk across the Assam hills and reach India. So the one story which was always my favorite story from all of Mama's Burma stories was how the family crossed over. It took them months to cross over and came to India. And Nani, Badi Mummy, she said that I'm ready to leave everything else behind, but I'm not going to leave my gramophone. So it was this lovely old German machine, and she had 100 records of Chitika Roy, Kanan Bala, Uma Devi, K.L. Sehgal, and these amazing, it was an era she wanted to carry back with her, and she carried the gramophone. She dropped many things. She had, I kind of immortalized that episode in her life when I migrated to the US, and in my English class, when I was asked to write an essay, I chose to write her journey with the gramophone in a story called Little Woman and the Gramophone. And I tried to bring out the essence of that time that she spent. And then, of course, in my Nani's real walk across the hills, there was also, she had been collecting all these saris, banarsis, silk, seo for her daughter's weddings. And when there was a scare of animals at night, jungle se jab guzarte the, unko lagta tha ki it's too dangerous, there are tigers, so she started, when everything else got spent, then she started pulling out those trousseau saris, and how she started burning them one after the other. All the trousseau saris got burned on the passage to India. So all those things are there in the book, it's a very interesting, I was very, as a child, I would love the drama of these. The narration, the way my mother would narrate stories would be very visual, and that's one thing that I picked up from her, you know, telling my stories in a visual manner. Yeah.
That's right. This book is so visual. And right in the beginning, you've written, "What will I be without these stories?" And that these stories nurture you, right?
Yes, yes.
All of us, I think.
Yes.
That's how we become who we are. Yeah. So, your grandparents, once they came to India from Burma, moved to Pakistan, and had to again flee from their homes.
They were
during the
twice
partition.
refugees.
Yes.
First from Burma to India and then from Lahore to Mukeria.
How did that affect your family? Did it change anything in your mother's psyche? And then, in turn, did you get affected?
Yes, I think when the family comes away, leaving everything behind, and they just come empty-handed, and of course from Pakistan, from Lahore, they had really nothing they could bring to India. I mean to Amritsar, or let's say Mukeria, where they first landed. So I think that sense of कुछ है नहीं है. And there are 4 girls to be married off, and my Nana was without a job, maybe just looking at the pension, and Nani was uneducated. पता नहीं how that would have, I mean, I remember my mama telling me that all I wanted was to study, and I didn't want to put the pressure of education on my father, because I already knew that he had so many mouths to feed. So I think all those things do impact. I'm sure when she was married into this very affluent, family where the head, my dada was a leading criminal lawyer, and my father, not at that time, but later he was educated at Government College Lahore. He had studied English literature. He had majored from there, and it was a affluent household. So I think it was that sense of appreciation for what she had married into, and she wanted to carry that, the grace and the dignity of that all her life.
Which she did.
Yes. And she, of course, was brought up in a convent school in Mandalay. They were very westernized, very anglicized, I would say. Very anglicized.
That's an interesting episode. You mentioned how your uncles and aunts have all got English names.
Yes. Yes, of course, in Mandalay, the nuns, the British nuns, at that time they couldn't pronounce names. My mother was called Himadri, Savitri, Gayatri. So everybody became, an English name was given to each one of them. Gertie, Sarah, Winnie, Lily. So I always knew them as Gertie auntie, Sarah auntie. Forgotten all the names.
Throughout the book, it's very obvious that your parents have had a great influence on you. You've devoted so many words to them in this book, and you've, I believe, while you were doing your research, you actually sat with them and recorded a lot of the things that they shared with you.
Their voices.
That's amazing that
They're
you're
narrating their lives. They've narrated it many times, but just putting things on record. So as I write, I would not forget. I wouldn't mix up anything, so I put them on.
Yes.
Tape.
So amazing to have that now.
Yes.
Yeah. So in the book, you've mentioned, there are incidents where your mother would, bring to your notice the simple things in life. Maybe teach you lessons in empathy just by the way she was, whether it was pointing out the drunken man on the street and asking if someone could help him, or worrying about the poor kulfi wala late in the night.
Yeah.
There are many such incidents that are mentioned there, and there is one where you go up to the gudiya wala or the kite seller and you ask for chunga. So tell us about that and what she told you at the end of it. Has it stayed with you?
Yes, there was this Dwarka's kite shop down the road, and all the other kids in the neighborhood, there was a huge colony, sort of the cobblers from Rajasthan who had settled into the gully behind the house. So all those little toddlers were forever running back and forth from Dwarka shop. Guddiyan में मिलती थी, copy, rubber, वो गाचनी, anything, you know, churran, goli, whatever, toffee. So I saw the kids forever asking for chunga. So, you know, I mean, it was I thought it's perfectly fine, it's our birthright to buy something and then stand there and say chunga de. So, Dwarka would put a little morton toffee or a imli like goli into our palm, and one day my mother saw me.
Without paying for it.
Yes. Well, yeah, this is the extra bit. We thought it was our right to get the extra bit. So my mother saw me do that, and she waited till I came back home. And then there, standing in the Veda, she took my class. What is this? Just extending your hand and waiting for him to give you. What is this? I said, chunga. And she said, no chunga unga. Just take what is rightfully yours. What you have paid for, just take that. And don't I dare see you extend your hand in front of anybody ever for anything. So that was a life lesson, and I have kind of, you know, it is so ingrained in my psyche that no, it just couldn't live my life any other way but what Mama taught me then.
So, your father had a different way of teaching you. The book talks about the seminars on Sunday. He called for his girls and teach them civic sense and moral duties and time management.
Yes, absolutely.
Did you enjoy those?
At that time we listened because they were more like student-teacher kind of teachings, you know. Seminar, hey, come for the seminar, Mama would say, okay, go. And we would drop whatever we are doing, and if Pitaji, if he has said, okay girls, come for the seminar, we have to drop everything, go into the veranda and sit. And at that time we used to crib. But yeah, we used to crib, oh, seminar, class ho gaya. And Piti would write points on the blackboard. He would stand in front of the blackboard with a chalk and he would write pros and cons of everything. You know, so if he's teaching something, then there are, he would write and we would note it down in our copies. And I grew up a little bit resentful of those because I thought, oh, Nandini's father, you know, she can mollycoddle him, she can go jump and sit in his lap. You know, Pitaji is so distant from us. He never really, you know, कोई लाड नहीं करते हैं हमारे साथ. He's so reserved and he's just always teaching us something or the other. तो जब फाटक पे उनका knock होता था तो we grab the first book at hand and then so those are the things. But later on, of course, I realized when my father in America once, he said, okay, tell me, where did I fail you as a father? And I had the audacity to say, oh, you used to do those. And he said, so was that a good thing or a bad thing? It took me one moment to realize it was the best thing that he could have done for us. And I was speechless. And I just, you know, in my defense, I just said that, no, but, you know, you used to, it used to be a distance between us. You used to treat us like your students. Without the blackboard, you couldn't communicate with us. So he said, beta, wo to us zamane ke log the. All this mollycoddling was left to women to do, you know, their kids. Fathers were the breadwinners and they would bring other elements into your life. And I felt so bad. I felt, oh, why did I even bring it up? Didn't I have better sense? You know.
So about your father, you've written plenty of other things.
Oh, yeah.
And you described this incident or this trip he took to Manali, near Manali.
Yeah, Kullu holidays.
Yeah. To to meet this Russian painter, Rorik.
Nicholas Rorik.
Yes, and because he was writing this journal.
He was producing this journal, small booklet called Joy of Art. He was a great art enthusiast. I don't know why he was not an artist himself, but he promoted art, he appreciated that, and that's how I met Rorik.
And interestingly, you mentioned that the foreword for that was written by none other than Rabindranath Tagore.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he was just this 19, 20-year-old young man studying in Lahore, and he comes all the way to Manali. He asks for a meeting with Rorik. Rorik says, "All right, you can stay at my place," and he does. They spend the evening talking about art. Rorik writes an essay. And I've written about my father's first meeting with Rorik. Rorik says, "Okay, I'll send you a mule to Patli Pool, and then you can, it's a steep climb." So he said, my father says, "I didn't want to be sitting on a mule after all. We're going to talk about art. How can I got to get sitting?"
You've got to read that in the book. So tell me something. While you were growing up, which are the movies that really left a great influence on you, and you were fascinated by them? What led you to cinema?
I've given a detailed account in my book about the films that I remember. I must have seen. I think I've almost put down everything. कि कौन सी फिल्म से जो याद रह गई for some reason or the other. Either it's a song or a certain emotion in the film or certain message in the film. I remember not being very carried away with pure entertainment films. They would not impress me. If I came back bland with nothing much to bring home with me, I didn't care. It disappeared from my head. But the films that I remembered were Abdi Dhurni, Schoolmaster, Choti Behan, Kabuli Wala, बचपन की जो फिल्में थी. And there were a lot of films at that time with Desi Rani and Hani Rani. Zameen ke Tare. Anybody knows that? Oh my God! I'm sitting in the audience. बहुत आगे, बहुत बातें कर रहे हैं सब लोग.
So let's now talk about how did you decide on the films? How did you choose the films you decided to act in? And you did not do, very mainstream masala movies.
See, the films, because I grew up on films like क्या था? जिस देश में गंगा बहती है, संगम, गाइड. मेरा नाम जोकर was a big influence on my mind because I learned so many things from that film. I learned how to be open about if you remember Mera Naam Joker, he calls all the women who have been part of his life, and there is such acceptance of things having not gone the right way, but he still holds them in high esteem, and how they also care for him and respect him enough to come back with their spouses and be part of that major show of his Raj Kapoor's when he's performing. So I learned that if something goes wrong in one relationship, you don't have to discard the person completely. You can retain what is good about in that person, what is good, and you can retain the good part, and still the equation will change, but you don't have to pull that human being out of your life just because one element, one equation between you didn't work out. That is what I learned from Mera Naam Joker. And I learned it clearly. So, these are the films, Guide, Sangam. These are the films that influence your choices. So, when you said what made me choose what I chose to do in my film career.
I have another question to add to that. Which roles closest to your heart?
Which
roles
roles?
you played? You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was very, I was very fond of a commercial film that I did with Rishi Kapoor and Padmini collaborates. Nobody ever talks about it. I don't think anybody ever saw it. But it is on YouTube, okay? Fine. I liked that role because the girl that I play is somebody who is internally, has some internal strength. She's put in a situation and she lives up to that situation. She goes into it willingly, understanding that how I have to save the life of this man, this boy, this man, Rishi Kapoor, who is in love with Padmini Kolhapuri, but when she's dying, she makes me promise that you will save him. You won't let him commit suicide or waste himself. This is called Ye Ishq Nahi Aasan. And this girl that I play, she does that. She does that and she comes out a winner because the man finally does fall in love with her. But she does it with kind of a grit and grace, which is the two things I have always held on to with myself. That in the way I've tried to conduct my career or my life or my,
you sure are the perfect example of both.
And of course, I'm playing Mezinda Hunga, films like Mirch Masala. I liked to play the strong women, but I'm not one of those flag, jhande wala feminism. It doesn't appeal to me. I'm not somebody who likes to do all this anti-male talk just because I have some feminist views. I'm not that kind of feminist. I value being a woman. I think it's great to be a woman. There's a chapter in my book which is really talks about the joy of being girls. And I've always, been proud of, the woman in me. I don't like women who play the female in front of men to whatever may be the incentive. I don't like that. I like women who can talk to men person to person, be the people that they are, and not this feminine thing which really gets my goat. So
Thanks for sharing that. Okay, the chapters, they all have fascinating names in the book. If you look through the index, tell me one incident or one place in the book. If you could relive one day or an incident in the book, which would you want to relive?
To relive?
Yeah. What was the most beautiful thing that you love to relive again?
Relive?
Something that you mentioned in the book.
Yeah, I know what I would not like to relive.
Let's talk about that.
Can I just speak about that? Because my entire childhood was so fascinating. I would give anything to relive my childhood. But one thing I would stay away from is the most stupid thing that I did at the age of 13. I ran away from home and I caused great trauma to my parents for those few hours that I just landed. I ran away because by the age of 13, I'd become a great introvert. I would just not express myself or share my feelings with neither my sister, my parents, my mother, who I was so close to. My father was distant, so nobody had a clue as to what was going on in my head. And in those days, I had seen so many movies being shot in Kashmir. And I used to dream about being in Kashmir. So I ran away to be in Kashmir. So I took a train. इतना बड़ा करियर था कि ट्रेन जो है पठानकोट जाती है, पठानकोट से बस मिलेगी, जो जम्मू जाएगी और उसके आगे श्रीनगर पहुंच जाएगी and I'll be in Dal Lake. That is where life happened. It was in Dal Lake. Shikara and those chinar trees and the entire romanticism. मतलब तब से दिमाग खराब है. तो I ran away because Pathankot station पर ही they could see that here is a stupid youngster, अच्छे घर की लड़की दिखती है और वो कहाँ जा रही है. So I was कान पकड़ के I even got a slap from the police inspector. मुझे few days ago I saw in the net page, when you scroll through, it says, find out why Deepti got slapped by the police. I'm sure there's plenty more interesting things that picked up. Oh my God. But anyway, I brought back home, and that is the only thing I would not do. I can say that how can anybody do that to their parents? How can you be so stupid?
Thanks for sharing that. Okay, just a couple more questions before we open to Q&A. Writing, as everyone knows, is a solitary process, and acting puts you in different social settings. So, is there a boundary between Deepti the actor and Deepti the writer, or do the two meld into each other and create take the unique gifts of each and bring them together to create Naval, the individual?
I grew up when I was younger as a girl. I grew up thinking that I'm just cut out for cinema. I used to write in school. I would write poetry, since I was in school. So, but later, I realized that acting, I'm always somebody else, conceived by the writer, and then given shape by the director, and then final is what the editor makes me out to be. That is not me. I just felt that, I would only be identified with as a person because of the roles that I have played, not for who I am in real life. So gradually, I think early on in my career, I realized that I can be me only through writing, not through acting. Acting is not going to tell you who I am.
So writing helped you express more of yourself.
Yeah. I can't say that they don't blend. Yeah. At some point they do blend, because when I'm acting a role, I'm putting a lot of myself into it. And so give shape to the role, and another actor will do it differently. The third actor will do it completely differently. So of course there is me in it, but that's not my take on life. What that character, through the character, what is being said, is not my take on life. My take is what I put in this book.
That's brilliant.
So even through memoirs, a writer wants to share some life wisdom. What is it that you want to convey through this beautiful book? And the name, a country called childhood, being referred to as a country in itself is just so fascinating.
Yeah, it's a metaphor for that phase that one has lived. The entire childhood, it's vast. Its landscape is like, endless. It's the possibilities. When you're a child, you have your inner world, your outer world. तो है ही कहाँ पे पैदा हुए, कौन है आसपास, your grandparents, your parents, your neighbors, the community that you belong to, the school that you go to, the mahalla that you're bring up in, all that is your geography and all that, but there is an inner world of a child, and which that landscape is vast. With that horizon, you cannot even fathom where it ends, and it doesn't end. And I think that, to me, when I was writing, there was a passage in my book which said that these are the sights, smells, sounds from the country I once lived in, a country called childhood. And it just happened, and then they picked up, my publisher, they picked up this sentence and the phrase from that passage, and they said they will call this book a country called childhood. What is the metaphor?
Very nice.
What's the message maybe you have in mind, or there's just...
There is not one message. There are no single messages. Because I talk honestly in this book about
very honestly, with a lot of integrity you were through.
Yeah, it has taken me. I mean, the running away chapter was the last. I wasn't sure if I want to tell the world how daft I was. I was sure I'm not going to touch that. Gulzar sir would call me and say, "Bachoo, walking go दिखाएंगे? क्या रोज जब आप पहाड़ देखने चलेंगे घर से भाग के तो?" And he said, "And Anjali, I'm not sure if I'm going to write it." नहीं, फिर तो छोटी किताब.
We wish you all the best for your next writing endeavor, and can't wait to read whatever comes next as well. This everyone must pick up, and you will enjoy every word. If it's okay, we'd like to open the floor to Q&A now. Please, if you have any questions, ask the mic around. Could you raise your hands?
Yes. About running away, my God. The first thing that came to my mind was, but for the grace of God. It was sitting here with us.
Yes, absolutely.
Because I think this is something all of us, it's our biggest fear. Our children not being there, us not knowing where our children are.
Yeah, yes.
Also, it must have taken such a lot of self-introspection to be able to write, look back on your life with so much of honesty, and to actually be able to, it's like looking at yourself in the mirror and being totally honest about your flaws.
Yes.
Weren't you tempted to,
I wish I could camouflage a few things in the book, but no, the idea was to share what was real, what felt real to me as a child. I need people to understand that in this chapter there is also a section called, in this book, there's a chapter called My Imaginary World. My imaginary world, which existed alongside my real world. Like in front of the house there was this tabela, buffalo shed. In my mind, I had given a name to every buffalo. One was called Charlie, the other was Brownie, then there was Bhuri, there was Gango. I knew them by faces. And so that world for me was very real. Because it existed, I lived it. So for example, there's a bay, a woman called Bay, who lives in the one end of the street. I chose to plant her on the topmost terrace of my house, which is somewhere on the 4th floor, and I called her Baby, and I had dialogue with her. I had an equation with her, but I call that chapter My Imaginary World. So you know that this is a child's mind. This is what I lived in my inner world.
Just another question. What we think of as our childhood, it's very subjective because you're living through it as a child.
Yes.
And what you remember is also very subjective. Did you go back to your parents and maybe they had a different memory of what actually happened? And
absolutely, for everything. There's a chapter here called The Park War of 65, which was just on itself, came Karan border, and then there's Lahore. I remember having to do so much homework, cross-checking of events, the way I remembered the war. I've written it like that, but not without talking to 100 people. यही हुआ था ना, वो जब झाटा में जब बम्बार्डमेंट हुई थी, प्रताप बाजार was razed to the ground, वो कौन से दिन हुआ था? कहते हैं जी जिस दिन सीज़फायर डिक्लेयर हुआ था, उसी दिन पाकिस्तान ने बॉम्ब्स फेंके थे और झाटा का प्रताप बाजार हुई. I cross-checking just to at least the geographic historical facts would be correct. And then of course memory-wise, I would go back to my mother, saying, Mama, do you remember this you had narrated to me? And whatever she would narrate, still could narrate to me, and it was still intact, that my memory of that narration. Those I knew that, if there was anything faltering, I would just sort of avoid. There was a lot of work had to be done on the World War II, Japanese invasion of Burma and the Indians, etc. There's a lot of things.
No, I mean your personal history, your remembrance of incidents that happened to you and your parents' remembrance of things that happened.
Yeah, all the time cross-checking. My father's life equation with me, so many things. We used to go for morning walks, we used to go for those after-dinner walks, when Nari Bridge for across the niche, Paan ki dukaan tak. Everything, all those things had to be cross-checked with them. But except for my sister, whenever I would call her and say, Deepti, tera yaad hai? And she would say, maine nahi yaad. One sentence answer for everything.
Vani, could you pass the mic?
She didn't want to indulge me.
Yeah, request.
So, you talk about the roles that have hung with you, and growing up, you were watching movies, and you just said, Mera Naam Joker has had an influence. I've always had the belief that as I see you on screen, you're a common man's Simi Garewal, who's a larger. Oh, yeah. But you're a common man, Simi Garewal, because for people like me, I've seen Rang Birangi, Miss Anita Sood, the role that you played with Amol Palekar as the office secretary. I think it's Rang Birangi. Yeah. So, well, again, I think if it's if you don't recall that, then you probably won't be able to.
I don't remember that film much, but yes, I do remember films like Saath Saath.
Oh yeah, yes, that's right.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite films from that time. I don't understand the term common man. I don't understand that.
It's probably because Bollywood is larger than life.
Yeah, I played the middle class girl.
Yeah.
But so most of the roles that I played, except for the first few films, when I remember a time when I'm saying that, who are these girls? It's got nothing to do with me. I'm not one of these girls. I'm not this girl, who has nothing much to say for herself, who doesn't have a strong personality. So I switched. I stopped playing this nice girl, whatever you call her, because I wanted to play women who are stronger, internally stronger. Not Jhandawala again, but internally stronger, like girls in films like Panchwadi, Ankahi, Main Zinda Hoon, Mirch Masala. I enjoyed playing. I made a conscious choice to play these kind of roles where they would make you think. Otherwise it's just a sweet girl. I don't identify.
Yeah, the last, of course, I remember is.
Sorry to disappoint you.
You playing that role in the English film Leela, which the American, that has definitely had a very, very.
Yes, I love that role.
Yes.
Leela, I love that role. My role in Shakti, my role in Bhavandar, not Bhavandar so much, but NH10, has anybody seen? Yes. Yeah, I was so skeptical. That was, I didn't want to play that, and then they convinced me that unless you play this our story doesn't. Because when Anushka reaches you, और सामने दीप्ति नवल है, तो audience should say, हाँ, अब ये safe है, अब ये safe है, until you turn around and you whack this, you know. And I said, oh my God, you want me to whack a woman? So, all that, you know. Of course, it got me my first screen award for Best Villain of the Year. Yeah.
I wanted to ask that you mentioned about your grandparents, your paternal and maternal. Whom were you more close to?
Close to?
Which side? Just curious to know.
My, because I think I got less time to spend with them. My Dada Dadi, Bauji and Deepti ji, they passed away when I was like maybe 6 years old, both. And my Badi Mummy, I was closer to her, my nanny, because I interacted with her periodically. We would go to Mukeria wala ghar, and I would, get to spend more time with her. But she was a simple woman. It's her stories always fascinated me. She was a farmer's daughter, so she was very close to the soil. I like that. She was a great. She loved going for long walks, and I admired her for that. क्योंकि वो ज़मीन से जुड़ी हुई थी, तो वो उनकी लाइफस्टाइल जो था वो बहुत नेचर से. So I could relate to that. No fancy anything, no adventure holidays, just out walking, long walks and that kind of thing was close to my nanny.
Now that you're here, you wish to visit Mukeria again?
I would always love to visit Mukeria again. Yes.
I hope you got in the beginning that she's got to connect with Jalandhar also.
I'm also from Cambridge, so I think
Oh, Kanya Mahavidyalaya, that we call it KME.
I know that, yes, my mother always. My mother spoke about something very interesting. She said that when I was in KME, I used to be, she was very fond of the earlier film stars. Her favorite was Deepti Rani, Betty Davis. So she loved dance, music, drama. And when I was little, I saw her rehearse for plays. And she used to tell me that when I was in Jalandhar, so I used to wear these Naval sarees. And what we would do is, अंदर से जो जहाँ से साड़ी पहनना शुरू होती, I would just cut a strip of cloth, and with that strip, कैंची चप्पल होती है, उसको ऐसे entwine करके make the same fabric साड़ी का वैसी चप्पल, and with every साड़ी that thing would change. Chappal would be the same, those rolling chappals, but go.
So you've taken a lot from your mother, whether it's the artistic side, and her love for movies and the desire to act and dance.
Kind of, she harbored the dream of becoming an actress one day, but because the family, and she told me, she says, father 2 बार refugees हो गए थे, कुछ रहा नहीं था, family had to start from scratch. तो अब ऐसे father को क्या बोलूँ मैं कि मेरे कोई ऐसे अलग dreams हैं. He was just so worried about कि लड़कियों की शादियाँ हो जाएं, So my mother gave up her dream, but I think she passed it on to me, and that's why I'm sitting here interacting with her. Thank you.
One more question.
Yeah. First of all, it was an amazing session. Thank you so much. I would certainly love to extend my thanks to Kataba Kadal Foundation and Ruhi and Mrs. Patel and Sonia Agarwal for inviting me to the session. And at the same time, you were mentioning very wonderfully that you have to forego one quality of a person in order to accept the rest of the good things you can accept and let the one quality go off. And this is the way you have to accept that person. Maybe the equation of the relationship changes. You know, that's what we were talking.
Yes.
So, you know, somewhere around the corner, what I've noticed, we, practically don't go on it, we talk about it, but what is an exercise is required to be done in order to accept the person and take it in a better way. Maybe the equation changes, but then, you know, what is an exercise? You do some meditation or you do something. What is the right thing you do about it? So, I was a little skeptical to ask about it, and I said, let me just go about it.
I'm not good at advising people, but I can give you the closest example is when me and Prakash, my ex-husband, when things didn't work out between us and we separated and later divorced, we immediately became good friends, and till date, I think we are each other's support system. And we have an adopted child. She's my daughter now, Disha, she's about 30 some years, 33 maybe. We are an unconventional, what do you say, sort of a family, family. But we are today, Prakash and I are best friends.
Wonderful. So any involvement,
I can only tell
exercise?
you how I have implemented that in my life, because I said, okay, fine, एक चीज नहीं वर्कआउट की ना, तो इंसान तो मैंने सिलेक्ट किया, तो उसमें बहुत सी क्वालिटीज थी ना, तो why can't I value those? And I hate to lose anybody. I hate losing people.
So wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Ma'am, I remember your Made in Heaven role, and I want to know, it was one of my favorite stories in Made in Heaven, OTT, at the OTT level. I want to know if you could relate to that role of yours, the way you want to, the way you had not at one point of time in your life.
Yes.
So how was that? Because personally, of all the Made in Heaven stories, I remember that.
Yes, it was a role I could relate to totally. I mean, here's a woman, she's in her middle age, she must be 50 something, and she wants to start life again, right? And she wants her children to be accepting of that. And it was a beautifully written piece. It was written by, I think, Nitya Mehra. She's also from Amritsar. And I could see that, I could relate to that why should life stop? I mean, I'm personally, as far as I'm concerned, I'm on another track altogether. I believe in the 4 stages of Hindu philosophy, Brahmacharya and Grahast and Vanaprast and finally Sannyas. I don't believe in, the only thing is, I don't believe in sannyas as a giving up of everything. I believe in sannyas as to take a break from making a living and go back to learning. So that's the stage I'm at now. I was telling you that I wanted to study again, go back to Manhattan and study some new things again. But for me sannyas means now, but I could see that happening in your 50s or 60s, whatever. Why not? I mean, people have all the right to start their life again. My father, dropped give up his secure job in Amritsar, and he took a chance with $12. He went to America with 4 family members to,
Quite late in his life.
late in his life, It required guts with no security, no promise of the job, but within a year he was placed as a professor. So things like that. So good, I think it was lovely here.
City of Jalandhar. I, Ruhi Wali Asyal, Ehsaas woman of Jalandhar, would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to Ms. Deepti Naval and Ms. Simran Pendle
Thank you.
on behalf of the Prabhaketan Foundation.
Thank you.
I also express express my gratitude to our patron Shri Cement Limited, our associate Radisson, media partner Dainik Jagran, and the wonderful audience for making the Right Circle session all the more special and successful. Thank you very much. You've been a very interactive audience. I hope you enjoyed the session. I request Ms. Seema Chopra to felicitate the author, Ms. Deepti Naval, with the Kantha Uttariya. May I request Mrs. Vani Rich to present a bouquet of flowers to Deepti Naval. Thank you so much. Stay happy, stay safe. Goodbye to you all. Before you leave, I invite you all to get a copy of Ms. Deepti Naval's book signed by her. Thank you very much. Good evening.